guys, Gina Couch here,
Haley Baudet here.
Michelle, and we're presenting Take 60 of Imogene King, Theorist.
Developed the theory of goal attainment. She was born in 1923. Her education and nursing practice consisted of a nursing diploma from St. John's School of Nursing in St. Louis, Missouri, Bachelor of Science in Nursing Education in St. Louis as well, Master of Science in Nursing at St. Louis University in 1957, and a Doctorate of Education, Teachers College, Columbia University, 1961. Her practice, she actually did not practice in the hospital as a nurse. She went straight into education, administration, and leadership. Her jobs consisted of St. John's Hospital School of Nursing, Ohio State University, Loyola University, and Division of Nursing in the U.S. Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, as well as University of South Florida. Her influencing factors, she based her knowledge development in nursing due to lack of development or lack of nursing language theory and concept development. She was influenced by Howland Systems Model and Howland and McDowell Conceptual Framework. She was also influenced in philosophy by General System Theory.
And now I'm going to talk about the core concepts in the theory of goal attainment, as well as a comparison with the biblical worldview. So in terms of core concepts, she talks about the relationships between personal system, interpersonal system, and social system. These things all contribute to the development of goals on the individual basis. So the personal system consists of perception, self, growth and development, body image, space, and time. Then in terms of the interpersonal system, it's more of a base of interaction, communication, transaction, role, and stress. So that's how King discusses kind of the ways that people interact. In terms of a social system, which influences a person's goal attainment, it relates to organization, authority, power, status, and decision making. So these things all influence goals. And her assumptions in the theory of goal attainment are the nursing focus, which she defines as the care of a human being. The goal of nursing she defines as the health care of individuals and groups. She describes human beings as open systems interacting constantly with their environment, which is a key point in her theory, is basically the constant interaction with environment, which is kind of Parsi-esque. Nurse and client communicate information, mutually set a goal, and act to attain that goal, which is pretty central to her goal attainment theory. She also describes transactions as life situations in which perceiver and thing perceived are encountered. The person enters the situation as an active participant, and each is changed in the process of these experiences. So as you might say, a little bit of a teaching-learning situation. In terms of biblical worldview, the main difference that we found was that King's theory kind of narrows down factors that affect goals and goal attainment to only 4, which are role, stress, space, and time. And this kind of has really no similarity to the biblical worldview because she doesn't define spirituality or the influence of God anywhere in her theory. Whereas the biblical worldview retains the assumption that God is present in all aspects of human life, including goal attainment. And we found a scripture that we thought well encompassed that idea, which is Psalm 16:8. I keep my eyes always on the Lord, with him at my right hand, I will not be shaken.
Imogene King's impact of theory, what locally and globally, was the nurse-patient relationship, patient-centered care, and also Indian women in mining communities. So her impact, as far as her theory, it's applicable directly to nursing practice situations, providing more concrete assumptions than abstract theories. You just killed it.
It's okay. Sorry, Haley's laughing a bit. We're fixing it. I don't know what's wrong with her. Go ahead, Michelle.
Keep going.
So her nurse and patient communicate, set goals, then reach those goals together. It also includes the patient's goals in care plan, improved outcomes with treating patient's idea of health. So basically, the patient is in charge of their own health. The theory was used in direct practice within short-term group psychotherapy. In this study, it was using goal attainment strategies that improved outcomes for patients. As far as the study that was done using her direct theory was Indian women in mining communities and their reproductive health. So the research conducted was that women were interviewed on what their goals were to determine factors directly influencing their reproductive health. So for an example would be a goal of better economic status and absence of long-term illness.
So I'm going to talk a little bit on the value of the theory with practice, education, and research. So with nursing practice, if you use the theory of goal attainment, and that will help you include the patient in formulating goals with face-to-face discussion and open listening, which will influence practice because you're putting the patient at the center of your care. It'll influence education because if we start teaching student nurses the importance of patient values and the importance of the patient's perception of health being at the forefront of the care model, then that will impact student nurses to use that in the future when taking care of their patients, and that will improve health outcomes. And then research, we thought more studies were needed on what are the most common patient goals in the hospital when we ask them what their goals are using the theory of goal attainment, and what are those correlated with improved health outcomes. So which goals are most important that most patients have, and that they're also correlated with improved health outcomes. And then lastly, for the role, for quality of care, we thought that as a new nurse, it's important to focus on patient goals as a new nurse, it's important to focus on patient goals because it will form a foundation of excellence and true presence and patient-centered care. So by what that's saying is that we're all going to be new nurses in practice, and when you listen to your patient and do open listening and true presence, then that will form a foundation of being an excellent nurse and focusing on what their quality of life is and what their quality of health decisions are, and that will help you make more patient-centered goals that will actually be achieved rather than making your own goals for their care and that they don't even really want to do, and they'll end up in frustration for both of you. And then the second point is for the future. If we lead by example and influence other nurses in our practice to also put their patients first at the front of their healthcare and put their goals in front of our own goals, then it will influence all of the patients in the hospital and their outcome of care. And then maybe in the future, it could even be a leadership quality that you possess, that you listen to your patients with true presence and just put their goals first. And that is our presentation on Imogene King's theory of goal attainment. Woo!
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Love ya.